This is a walkthrough on how to fill an application. So we start the application here. You basically enter your information. It's important to put the right information, the right name, because it is binding afterwards in the application itself. And then the email address here, your email address, obviously. Use this one for now. Password that you will remember over time, and your preferred language, and you must agree to our terms. So now we create an account, and this is like typical for membership. One needs to verify the account. You basically verify it, and that's it. You can then signed in with the email address and password that you just provided. So doing that like this. So as you do that, you enter into an account that is not populated yet. So basically, you just start a new application here. I'll go with a case of a foreign non-resident. Um, Dominican citizen, it assumes that you have like a residency or you're actually a Dominican naturalized person. Foreign resident is like a foreigner living into the DR, but you need to have like an immigration status, so a residency card. Foreign non-resident is you can be anywhere around the world, and a corporate investor is as stated. And then I say the country of residence, like say for this case, will be the United States. If it's not in a shortcut, pick the country there. So let's continue here. Um, let's go for the product type. Personal pre-approval is if you don't have a property in mind already, and you just want to see or get a bank pre-approval to go and shop and show that you are ready to get finance. Property pre-approval is in order if you're a seller of a property, you want to make sure that the banks can actually mortgage that property. But we'll go for the property purchase. So that would be the use case of anyone that wants to have their own profile, their own financial approved by a bank, uh, cross-referencing with a property they already have located. So let's go for this case here, property purchase. Um, Bank account relationship. So if you already have a bank account with a Dominican Republic bank, you basically, you pick, for example, this. I have a bank account with Banreserva. The account number only enter the subset of the four digits, like finishing the last four digits. I don't want to keep the entire account number at this point for security reasons. It will be asked later on, um, but that's pretty much the loop. So let's keep it simple for now. Let's assume that, and these are all the banks that are handled um, in the system, in the platform for now. So let's continue while not having a bank account. So here it is. You see here the importance of having entered the right information. This is locked out. It's already part of your profile. So let's go on and fill the information as best we can. So 14 1978 here. Date of birth, that's important for a mortgage number, a mortgage application. So hang on. So here, so United States. You go on, basically entering the information as best you can here. So is from Miami, um, United States, and the applicant, let's say, is married. So, one thing to say about this, in Dominican law, if you're married, your spouse actually needs to co-apply with you. So you see, I cannot continue before I enter my spouse's information there. So the spouse is always a co-borrower in the sense that both of them are joined in the application. So let's do this. Um, Mitchell here, and she, as well as myself, live in the United States. So, and I enter the last four digits of the social security number here. Um, and once again, it's not the full social security number because of security reasons for now. Um, Here I can actually estimate. It's not binding, it's just an estimation to help, going into the application flow. But let's say I know as a fact that she makes $75,000 a year, and she has like $145,000 of assets, and in liabilities, let's say that there's $24,000 of pending debts. This is an estimate. On her end, she will actually fill the information with the right information there. So that's about it. And then I need to invite her in order to continue. So um, that was the blocking point. I hesitated there because I didn't see it there. So that's why I'm explaining, because sometimes it can be. So she will get an email inviting her to the platform, and at that point, I'm able to continue with the application. So let's go on. So this is my own information. So let's say I'm more comfortable with US dollars here. I put my own conditions there. So let's say here, and annually I make $120,000 a year. Let's say monthly income, other fixed obligations. Let's say I already have like $2,000 of obligations, and I do have a $20,000 debt, but I own another like $160,000 of assets, like cars or any any other assets as such. So let's continue. That's the state here. Fairly straightforward. Um, let's go on. Property to purchase. Let's say I already have a property in mind. So um, in the Dominican Republic, obviously, um, principal. Let's say the property type is a condo, and it is a new construction. It is in Punta Cana, and it already selects here, and it's worth $315,000, let's say, and that's where I am. So let's say that I know as a fact that I can put like 20% down. Um, I if I would have like more financial freedom, I could go up to 40%. That opens up to 6 banks, which would be great. But sadly, my situation limits me to 20%. But nevertheless, I do have 2 banks. Um, Let me put it for 20 years, and the estimate could be like $2,700, but that's put on a 12%, so it's almost like the worst case scenario here. Um, and that's dependent on the joint application here. Um, if on the other end I do want to open up to more banks, I can actually invite more co-applicants. So I do have my own wife here that needs to respond to this with her estimates, but I could add like a a co-signer, for example, in which case the annual income from their own financial profile sums up with the annual income of both co-borrowers and so on, and that can open up to even more banks. So if you have like someone that trusts you and that you trust, that you can actually make part of this process, that's the right moment to do so. As you enter like these amounts, these are non-binding. This is just like purely for simulation purposes, but it does change like the global picture of how many people, how many banks can actually be considered. So there's a couple of QA there, question and answers. But let's continue only with the wife as the co-borrower. Selecting a an appraiser. Okay, in the Dominican Republic, the appraisal situation is fairly complex in the sense that each bank has a list of appraiser that they want to that that they can actually accept their reports against. But on the other hand, this is Hypotec is a multi-bank bidder, so it is fairly strategic to go and pick an appraiser that actually deals with the most amount of banks as possible in order to maximize the chances of any given bank, any individual bank dealing with these appraiser. It is a messy situation in the DR, but that's what we have for now. So I'll pick the appraiser that is at the top here that deals with the most banks. It's not a guarantee that all the banks will actually deal with this appraiser, but so okay, so this is the document filling part. It is the most cumbersome aspect of the application, and I know as a fact that you guys won't deal this like on the spot. Not many people have these documentation available to them handy. So for that reason, I do have like a checklist here that I can send to myself in an email or in a WhatsApp, and I go through my day, but I do have my checklist like handy on my cell phone to remind myself where I am in the process. So I prepared for this. Let's say here, marriage certificate here. I think I have this here, marriage certificate. So it's not only a matter of getting the document, but the document has a has to be in a different status at any given time. So for right now, for the purpose of where we are filing with Hypotec, we only need a digital copy. But when you show up to the bank, they do expect that document to be in a different state and at closing also. So these are the state at which each document needs to be in. And each of the documents have their own state requirements per stage. So that's another information that is useful to you in your efforts to get a mortgage and actually up to a closing. So here, property title certificate. It is uploading, taking some time to upload. Done. Passport. So um, once again, um, there is an attempt to document as well as possible the different conditions. Like now, it needs to have at least 6 month validity, the passport. So This is information like useful to you. Here, that should be the driver's license. It is a um, national ID. Proof of income. Proof of income would be like letter of employment that I got prepared here. So once again here, you want the digital copy. For the bank filing, it's important. It has to be translated. For closing, it's not even required. So um, that's useful information to prepare for each given stage. So here in proof of income, I can actually add multiple um, multiple documents. Like I'll enter also the pay stubs, um, proof of address. Here I have some utility bills to enter, and bank statements. Let's continue with bank statements. Bank account statements here. Um, okay, and then the driver's license here. The liens that probably comes from the seller itself. So the seller will, or your own lawyer will will provide this for you. Hang on here. The liens, the property tax certificate. So I should have this here. Property taxes here. That's done also. The property appraisal um, here. And as you can see, that comes afterwards that you've picked your appraiser. So there's probably a difference in time in terms of when you pick the appraiser in a previous step here and when you get the appraisal. So you're pretty much ready here to continue. Hang on here. Stating proof of address. Okay, I still have the proof of address that I seem not to have uploaded here. So proof of address is actually utility bill here. So yeah, trying to document as well as possible what is the blocker, if there is ever a blocker. If there is a need for a power of attorney, the system can actually pre-calculate a power of attorney for you. So let's actually go through this just to show you what it would look like. So that creates a power of attorney with the pre-filled information that is multilingual, and you would go and notarize this locally, but let's not do this for now. So here it is. I have two green banks, which are anonymous at this point, but later in the process you will know which banks it is. So the credit assessment, you perform your own credit assessment based on where you are. Like right now, I'm in the US. I have access to three credit bureaus. So what you do is, I'm going fast a bit here. I'm showing the instructions on how to get your own credit report. So you do a self assessment of your own credit. You get your credit report, and you basically insert your own credit report into the application. So let's say I did this like last Friday here, and I got a credit score of 742. So that allows for the application for each bank to go without each bank getting a credit report on a preview of the approval. When it will formalize into going with the bank that you chose, then they might pull the credit report independently of you, but at least you don't have like to provide t- 10 permissions to get credit report independently, and 10 people actually accessed your credit that way. So proceed to review, and, and that's it. That basically provides the overview of everything you filed in. At this point, right now, it is not ready to accept your payment and continue because your spouse didn't actually finish the her application. But as soon as your spouse or whatever co-applicant finishes their application, this will enable and allow you to further move on. So if you think it is taking too much time, you can send a reminder here, and so on. So this is the process as it goes. Hopefully that's helpful.